Hello and welcome to the Royal Record here on GB News. I'm Cameron Walker, GB News' Royal Correspondent.
And I'm Svar Nanan-Sen, Royal Editor of gbnews.com.
A variety of topics coming up on today's show. We have seen the King, Queen, Prince and Princess of Wales at Balmoral. We believe the three children are there as well, so we're giving you an insight into what they've been getting up to this bank holiday weekend.
We'll also be looking at whether Prince Harry's decision to not include any further chapters in the paperback version of Spare is an olive branch to the royal family.
And it looks like the royal family could be getting another member of their family in the armed forces. Lady Louise Windsor, Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh's oldest daughter, is considering, reportedly, a career in the military. Far, the royal family is well and truly on their summer breaks at the moment. Not a lot of public engagements going on as perhaps would be expected for August, but we did get some lovely photographs of the King and Queen and the Prince and Princess of Wales off to Crathy Kirk Church, which is just next to Balmoral Castle, for their Sunday service. But a pretty rare appearance from the Princess of Wales, I suppose.
Yeah, in terms of an actual public appearance, it's just the third that she's made this year, with Trooping the Colour and the appearance at Wimbledon in July. But it was great to see Kate out and about and enjoying a holiday with her family, a much needed break for the royal family.
Yeah, and I think it also shows that they traditionally, we think, the Waleses go up to Balmoral Castle for the long August bank holiday weekend at the end of August, just before the children go back to school. So as far as we're aware, the Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis were also on the estate, although we haven't seen any photographs of them going to Crathy Kirk. But I think perhaps it just shows that they're spending time with their grandfather and step-grandmother, the King and Camilla, and allowing them to just, as Prince William always says, and as the late Queen spoke of previously, just kind of the freedom that Balmoral gives them away from the public eye, just allowing them to be themselves, get out into the Scottish country air, all the walking, all the exercise that perhaps the Princess of Wales as well would be keen on, and just being a family, like a regular family, albeit in a very irregular house of Balmoral Castle.
Yeah, and you say away from the public eye, but Prince William's appearance actually stirred quite a reaction on social media because fans realised he'd shaved his beard off.
Gutted. It was just a holiday beard.
Yeah.
What a shame.
So, it made a fleeting appearance in the tribute to the Team GB Olympians alongside Kate. But yeah, it looks like when he returns to royal duties next month, it'll be back to the clean-shaven look.
Yeah, of course, that video of the Prince and Princess of Wales congratulating Team GB after the Olympics was filmed in Norfolk, kind of midsummer. They both looked very tanned. I'm speculating here, but maybe they went away somewhere lovely that was slightly warmer than the UK with less rain. But we're getting very close now to official duties starting again. We know Prince William, for example, Kensington Palace has announced that he's going to the Saatchi Gallery to view his homelessness art exhibition in September, probably a day after the children go back to school at Lambrook in September. So he's kind of getting ready for the autumn term to start again, more public duties. And as you say, shaved his beard off, so it's not going to be a regular appearance. Maybe somebody said something to him, or he just thought he wanted to be smarter and be clean shaven.
Yeah, and it's the end of the beard wars with Prince Harry before it really started.
Yeah, Prince Harry, of course, famously has had a beard for a number of years and asked the late Queen's permission to have a beard or keep his beard when he married Meghan Markle in 2018, which she allowed him to have, luckily for him anyway.
William also issued a statement this week following the death of former England manager Sven Eriksson. So Sven was the England manager from 2001 to 2006. He was the first foreign manager of the England national team. And William met him on several occasions in his role as president of the FA, which he took up in 2005. Sven was diagnosed with terminal cancer and revealed in January that he had, at best, a year to live. William, in his statement, referred to Sven as a true gentleman of the game. However, on a slightly brighter note, Sven did reveal that his lifelong dream was to manage Liverpool, and that was arranged in March that Sven could take over and manage the Liverpool Legends football team at Anfield against Ajax Legends. And so Sven was able to fulfill his lifelong dream just months before he passed.
Prince William also said in his statement on social media that he was struck by Sven's charisma and passion for football. He also said that his thoughts and Prince William's thoughts are with Sven's family and friends. And of course, Prince William has recently become patron of the Football Association, stepping perhaps one above his presidency of the FA. Clearly a huge supporter of football, and clearly something which Prince William really cares about supporting, particularly with Sven. I think perhaps it was written up by many media publications that he was leading the nation, Prince William was, in tributes to the former England manager. But across the Atlantic, we've got obviously Prince Harry and Meghan back from their fresh from their Colombia visit. But we've had announcements from Prince Harry's publishers of his memoir Spare. Of course, that very controversial book had a number of royal bombshells in it when it was released. Was it last year it was released? October?
Yeah. January 2023.
January 2023. Yeah. My God, time flies. Well, we're going to get a paperback version, you lucky devils out there, being released on the 22nd of October. Now, red flag for me when I knew the release date of this, that's slap bang in the middle of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa. We know King Charles is going to be there. Was this whole thing going to distract from CHOGM and King Charles's work there? I suspect not as much as it was going to, because we now know there's going to be no new information within that book that wasn't published in the hardback version, because usually when a paperback version is released, there tends to be at least another chapter or at least another paragraph released alongside it. As we understand it, that's not happening. So does this suggest that Prince Harry really does want to get away from kind of criticising the royal family or complaining about his life as a working royal?
Yeah, it's interesting. It does look like an olive branch by the fact there will be no more new information coming out of Spare. But again, the release date, smack bang in the middle of Charles's tour of Australia and Samoa. And we did see Sarah Ferguson actually move a scheduled engagement in Australia out of respect for the king and to not distract from his upcoming tour in Australia. So I suppose with no new information, it shouldn't get as much of pick up or take away from the headlines as it could have done if he had included an extra bombshell or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, the release date is interesting that it's going to go on whilst Charles is in Australia and Samoa.
What I have seen from Prince Harry and Meghan recently is, I think, a genuine drive to focus on their charitable work and less about harking back to the past and their lives as working royals. And I think when Spare was released and when their Netflix series was released, or Oprah and things like that, their popularity, particularly in the United Kingdom, but I think to some extent in the United States as well, their popularity decreased. They became less popular. And if I was a PR person advising the Sussexes, I would suggest that by releasing new information, the same effect would take place. It would have a negative impact on their popularity in the United Kingdom and the United States. So maybe Prince Harry is aware of that polling as well and has decided not to release any new information, because he did say in one of the promotional interviews that he could have written a whole other book on stuff that he just chose to keep out of Spare. But clearly he's decided at the moment that the time is not right, if ever, to release further information. And he's just going to, wipe his hands of it now. That's it. Let's focus on the future.
Yeah, I think you're right, because the Netflix documentary came out December 2022 and then Spare came out January 2023. So one straight after the other. They're now, it seems to be in a new era. We didn't see any shots taken at the royal family during their time in Colombia or Nigeria. And so, yeah, it looks like they're going in a different direction, which I think is a good thing for their brand and also a good thing for the royal family, and that all of them can move on, even though with the feud that is ongoing with William and Harry, it still seems there's a long way to go in that.
And Prince Harry was the last member of the royal family to serve in the armed forces, and it looks like we may get another person who's in the royal family serving in the armed forces very soon when she finishes university. This is 20-year-old Lady Louise Mountbatten-Windsor, who is the oldest daughter of Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, granddaughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II. And according to The Sun, she is, and I quote from her LinkedIn page, which is quoted in The Sun, interested in pursuing a career in the military, diplomacy, or law. But she is actually in the Officers Training Corps at St Andrews University, which is where she's studying at the moment. So I mean, this could be quite an interesting career move for I was about to say the princess. She's not a princess, for Lady Louise.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's also a very different path to what we've seen her cousins take, both Princess Eugenie, Princess Beatrice and Zara Tyndall, that none of them took up roles in the military. So if Lady Louise does go down that route, it's quite different and, if anything, similar to the late Queen in terms of her roles in the military.
Yeah, the late Queen was a junior commander in the Auxiliary Territorial Service during World War II. Lots of mechanicking, that's not a word, mechanic stuff to do with cars. You can tell I'm not a mechanic. I'd be useless if my car ever broke down. But she would be, Lady Louise, the first female member of the royal family to serve in the armed forces since the late Queen. What's that, 70, 80 years since World War II, which is astonishing, really. Lady Louise's father served very briefly in the Royal Marines. He trained with them for kind of 4 months or so in the 1980s before giving it up. But I suppose with the army comes a sense of duty. With the royal family comes a sense of duty. We know Lady Louise certainly takes after her grandparents with carriage riding. Her late grandfather, Prince Philip, was keen on that. And Lady Louise, we believe, took over his carriages and things like that when she's been riding in certain competitions. And perhaps this is just going to be another string to her bow. But she may, of course, decide to go down the diplomacy or law routes. But she certainly seems to, according to her friends who's spoken to The Sun, be very much enjoying her army cadet training at St Andrews, going out and about.
And I think this, it seems to be exactly what the Duchess of Edinburgh has previously said about her children and Louise and their youngest son James, that they're going to have to build their own careers, and that it doesn't look like there is a working role available to them in the royal family. And so they're going to have to explore different options. And it looks like Lady Louise at the moment has decided that she's going to go the military route.
Yeah, and it looks, I mean, she's 16th, I think, in line to the throne. So it's beyond unlikely that she's ever going to have to be on the throne. So, of course, she has to create her own life and career. And that's perhaps why she's gone to university. And that's why she's pursuing these quite admirable positions or ambitions, I should say. So let's see what happens with this one. Watch this space. And we can't go really without wishing a very happy birthday to another perhaps slightly minor working member of the royal family, and that is Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester, who turned 80 on the 26th of August. I would say perhaps one of those no nonsense, no fuss working royals who just gets on with the job, never complains, never explains, keeps himself to himself, allows the spotlight perhaps to shine on the Prince and Princess of Wales and the King and Queen, of course, as well. So happy birthday to him. Well, that's it for another week of the Royal Record here on GB News. Remember, you can get in touch with us with the email address royal@gbnews.uk or use the hashtag GBNRoyalRecord.
And don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the latest royal news and analysis by going to gbnews.com/royal or by signing up to the Royal newsletter.
Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.